I think we can begin, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So good afternoon, everyone. The House of Sultan and Sons Private Limited and Method AI extends a very warm welcome to all the participants of today's artificial intelligence webinar. It feels nice to have you all here, and we thank you for that. A bit about the house first before we jump straight into the webinar. We at Sultan Chand are pioneers in the field of book publishing in post-independence India, catering to students from pre-primary to university level, churning out over 600 regular titles, besides adding new ones to our stable year after year. Known for competently written and elegantly produced and reasonably priced books, our publications are widely prescribed in reputed schools and colleges across the country, as well as some neighboring countries. Our authors are distinguished academicians, professors, and educationists with vast experience and expertise. We are proud to be associated with them. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the host of today's webinar, Dr. Sachin Gupta. He is the author of textbooks on artificial intelligence and data science books for classes 9th and 10th. Besides, Dr. Gupta is Dean of Research and Innovation at Maharaja Agresane Institute of Technology, GGSIPU, New Delhi. Dr. Gupta has also been HOD Computer Science Engineering and MCA Department of Dronacharya Group of Institutions, Deputy Director and Head of the Computer Science Department in Chandraprabhu Jain College of Higher Studies, affiliated to GGSIPU again, with a teaching experience of over 20 years. And I just saw his slide, I think 21 years, which includes teaching undergraduate, postgraduate, and research students. Dr. Gupta's academic pursuits have been fairly meritorious, winning him several awards, distinctions, scholarships, including the Certificate of Academic Excellence by GGSIPU. So I think the list is endless, but without taking much of your time, I hand it over to Dr. Gupta to conduct today's session. Thank you.
Am I audible, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Please let me know if I lose the audio at any point of time because I'm running blind into the presentation. So, the topic for today is we have just started a series that would go long run into how to teach AI as a subject in class 9th and 10th. It's for 10th, but the same principles would be very easily adaptable to class 9th as well. And we are going to take it on the basis of that. We'll keep every chapter covered in the workshop series, starting from chapter 1. We hope to cover even those topics which are out of the syllabus or curriculum of CBSE, but which are crucial for any teacher to feel vindicated when they are going to their classroom. Teaching into higher education space is far more easier than kudos to all of you who are teaching, because it's a very hard job teaching the students of class 9, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That kind of query they have, the kind of interaction they require, the kind of nurturing they require. Hats off to all the teachers present here, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to start with the presentation today on the very first topic, on how do we classify or how do we distinguish between the human intelligence versus artificial intelligence? How do we identify what artificial intelligence is? That is the kind of basic requirement that we are getting into this. So I hope my screen is also visible to everyone. No, I'll share. So you can see my screen, I hope. Just say yes, please. I'll be able to. Okay, all right. So let us start now. Let me close the chat window for everyone, and then we can begin. Okay, so here goes. The topic for today is decoding artificial intelligence. We are running into an FDP series for would be applicable. Let me start with a very small introduction to myself first. I am a computer science faculty. I have been struggling with information technology since the last 21 years, but fortunately yet to give in, so I consider that as a win. I am a professor and Dean of Research and Innovation at Maharaja Agresi Institute of Technology. We are running 8 engineering departments, out of which 6 are into computer science and IT, and we are currently starting artificial intelligence and machine learning as a BTech domain in that. I've authored in the domain of data science and artificial intelligence, and I'm working as a product advisor with methodai.com for their artificial intelligence task. These are the new titles that we have come up with, and the inspiration for the titles is faculty. I mean, myself as a faculty, I was struggling with artificial intelligence in 2019, 2018, and the very first time I took it up, I felt as if I'm going into learning a foreign language because it was so hard for me to understand that how this thing is working or how this thing is actually supposed to be decoded. So the main motivation for writing these books was to make it so easy for anyone that they will be able to understand artificial intelligence from the perspective of somebody who has never ever read it. So they start from the scratch and take you to whatever competence level that you are looking forward to working with. So we have books in both class 8, class 9th and class 10th as of today. What we are going to discuss today is, okay, so for the book, I have divided the chapter 1, unit 1 into 2 parts. The first part deals with the agenda that we have today, that we discuss what is the human intelligence versus the artificial intelligence. We would also discuss the multiple intelligence theory. Then what goes into defining artificial intelligence as a topic, and more importantly, what is not to be considered as artificial intelligence. We will see some ways of how to identify that whether a piece of software or technology is classified as AI or not. And lastly, we will take a very brief description of how do machines become artificially intelligent. This we are going to take up in further details when we go for the next session. In case if there are any queries that you have during the presentation is on, you may please redirect to them on the chat window. And even after that, you can keep dropping your queries on the chat window. I'll pick them up whenever I move to the chat. So first thing first, uh, how do we define intelligence? There are a lot of philosophers who define intelligence in a lot of different ways. But summarizing all of those definitions, I could come across a single statement that intelligence generally refers to the ability to learn, to recognize problems, and to solve problems broadly. Maybe not even be able to solve, but if we can recognize the problems and take some steps towards the solution of that problem, that would also be considered as intelligence. There are a lot of other aspects as well, including creativity, adaptability, and understanding of complex ideas that actually go into the human intelligence. But would it be possible for us to replicate all of the above concepts in computers? The first time artificial intelligence was used as a terminology, this was the basic question that the scientists had in mind, that if we can define that these are the traits of human intelligence, then is it possible to bring all of these concepts in computers? Have you already replicated some for creativity, some for adaptability. Let's check some AI tools which I have actually thought. Okay, so how many of you use ChatGPT? I'll just look on the chat window that how many people just raise your, uh, I mean, just a yes would do. That people using ChatGPT for their classrooms or Kausalya says yes. I see there are a lot of participants who would be, all those who are not using ChatGPT so far. We'll do a small exercise with ChatGPT and let us see how far it goes. Okay. So let's take on to, I was talking to ChatGPT today and I asked it a question that it was supposed to answer for me. Look into it. So let me hide what number comes in the series so far. So what ChatGPT answered was, it said the sequence follows a pattern of multiplying the previous number by 2. That means 5 into 2 plus 2, that was 12. Then 12 into 2 plus 2, that was supposed to be 26 here. Then 54 here, and then the next answer should have been 110. So following this pattern, ChatGPT said that the answer would be 110, but the series was supposedly different. It was not exactly what was giving me. So then I prompted it, you got half of the logic correct. Can you figure out what went wrong? And then ChatGPT actually went out into correcting itself. This is something called adapting. This is something called learning by mistake. This is something that we can actually refer to that, yes, this is some intelligent behavior that this particular large language model is giving us. Now, remember that I'm saying it's a large language model. It is not supposed to actually go into the domain of mathematics, but since all mathematical equations are also expressed as languages, it is feasible for us to create a large language model which would be able to solve mathematical and logical problems as well. So that was about ChatGPT. Yet another thing that we are getting into the function of creativity is Leonardo or Microsoft Bing. So I'm not going to give any task to Bing, but I'll just ask it to surprise me. You can create your own account on bing.com/create and let us ask it to surprise me. It says it takes a prompt itself, futuristic city with a floating spire in the center, isometric design, and let us say add something like I've just added some more parts to the prompt and I ask it to create. So in the meanwhile, it creates it. This is something which is an example of generative artificial intelligence. It is creating the way the humans do. But on the basis of what? That the input to this system is a simple text prompt, and the output of this is 4 possible images which it is giving us, which can be used without royalty. We have not paid anything for the system to be used, but see the kind of images it is providing us. So if we change the prompt a very small bit with what it was actually giving us originally, and we create it again, it would, you can say, you can draw it in watercolor, you can draw it in the way some artist would have painted it. There are a lot of ways how to prompt it, right? But there comes in a bit different kind of images that we have, and these are some things which we can use as our own as well. So this is just the two products that we have actually demonstrated. So creativity, yes, that is available with artificial intelligence. Adaptability, yes, we just saw that chat GPT, when it went wrong and we could prompt it to correctness, it could do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not, but most of the time the tools which are evolving, they are capable of doing this. So the next natural question that comes into human intelligence is that, are we born intelligent? Most of the time, people would say intelligence is usually inherited genetically, but it is also developed with years of practice and perseverance and acquired knowledge from several sources. We are actually absorbing from environment wherever we are. So there are two types of intelligence as per the philosophers. One part they say is fluid. The fluid intelligence is something which is innate to the human, where we would be able to solve a problem even when we do not have any previous knowledge of or experience of that problem. This is fluid intelligence. This is the human brain in work. The crystallized intelligence is the skills that we have acquired through experience and education, and this is usually that we keep on adding. So crystallized intelligence is built on your inherited intelligence, but fluid intelligence is something that we are born with, and the concepts actually relate somehow to artificial intelligence as well. So going back to your chat GPT, I asked it a question that if in case I have to consider which intelligence is closer to fluid and which intelligence is closer to crystallized, it said that fluid intelligence is close to machine learning models, which are learning from new and unfamiliar situations, like pattern recognition or neural networks, all the tasks that where we give a lot of data without telling the machine what to expect, and it still learns from them. So these models, when properly trained, can generalize well to new data. Crystallized intelligence was the original rule-based system and traditional algorithms in artificial intelligence, where there was explicit programming, where we gave it a prior set of rules, and on the basis of it, it would be able to adapt to certain tasks. So there is no adaptability here as the fluid intelligence models do have. So for humans, everything comes naturally to us. We have fluid intelligence, we have crystallized, we combine both. That we sometimes have learned something, but we find in a new situation, and then we see that the fluid intelligence takes cognizance of our crystallized intelligence, and then we are able to do more with the situation that we have. But does the same apply to artificial intelligence as ChatGPT says? Let us try to have two very small examples, which we have extracted from the book. One is to humans. Let us say we have to design a system which would be artificial intelligence based, and to pick up an object like a robotic arm. And on the other hand, there are humans. For the humans, the tasks are we have to look for the object, task one. We mentally assess its shape, size, and texture. We also assess the potential weight. Like I have an object in my hand which goes like a water bottle. So I could understand how much would be the weight, it being half filled, how much, what is the shape, size, and texture, and I can effortlessly select the angle to hold this. That I can hold it this way, I can hold it this way, I can hold it any way that I would want to work. There is a, however, right amount of force for picking up the object, because if this would have been very thin plastic, I would have to hold it delicately. But it being a tough plastic, I can actually hold it with good pressure and it would still not break. Consider the same task for a robotic arm. The robotic arm needs to have computer vision to look for the object. Perfectly fine, it works. The robotic arm would have to get into 3D computer vision to assess the shape, size, and texture. It would have to rely on a lot of objects it has seen for similar shape, size, or texture that the current object that I am having. It cannot assess the potential weight just by looking at it. So that would be something that is very difficult for the machine to do. Selecting an angle to hold would be very difficult for the robotic arm to do. And finally, this is the hardest part, that it does not know what kind of object I am looking at. It would hold a tomato with the same force that it would hold a rock. But the rock requires a lot of pressure, maybe, but a tomato, if you put a little amount of pressure, it would just crumble. So picking up an object is incredibly easy for human being, and at the same time, it is incredibly hard for the machine to learn. It's one of the hardest problems that artificial intelligence faces today. Correspondingly, let's take another problem. We want to beat the world chess champion. For a human being like me, or for any ordinary human being, it would be a very hard task to think about. It's considered true test of human intelligence, and barely a very few people in the entire world population can hope to achieve to beat the world chess champion, and they would be in the same category as the world chess champion. But for the machines, it's incredibly easy because IBM Deep Blue could actually defeat Gary Kasparov in 1997. And since then, we have come a long way to create a lot of software which is game based, which learns by more examples, which even learns the moves the opponent might make. And based on the calculations that they are doing, they are beating the humans hands down very easily because the large amount of calculations which they can do, the humans cannot. So, what is easier is a very difficult question to answer in the domain of AI. For some tasks that we humans consider very easy, like picking up an object, they are very hard for artificial intelligence. And on the other hand, some tasks that we consider very hard, like beating the world chess champion, they're incredibly easy for artificial intelligence to work on. How do we compare? Is it even possible to compare human intelligence to artificial? That is a big question. So, human versus artificial intelligence has a dilemma. We can't define artificial intelligence in the same way as the human intelligence because tasks which are considered tests of human intelligence may be very easy for a programmed machine, like beating a person at chess or Go or any other game, which is supposed to be calculative, or calculating some numeric series, that may be very easy. But the tasks which we find effortless may be very complicated for programmed machines to perform. That is a dilemma. And not only this, the human intelligence is actually divided into multiple intelligence theory given by a lot of philosophers. So the theory says, uh, and part of the syllabus also for our series, that says there are 9 kinds of intelligence which humans possess. That includes logical to mathematical intelligence, where people are excelling at mathematics and working with numbers. Accountants are in this category, scientists are in this category. Then musical intelligence, where people have an excellent sense of rhythm and ability to recognize tone and pitch. They can be musicians, they can be singers, they are people who are working with acoustics of a room. Interpersonal intelligence, where people who are good at reading verbal and non-verbal cues, as well as determining temperament and mood. You find people who are working with HR or personal relations, they are very good at interpersonal intelligence. Linguistic intelligence, where people have high knowledge of how to put their feelings and thoughts into words. They can be writers, they can be language translators who understand more than one language, and so forth. Then there is bodily kinesthetic intelligence, where you have an excellent sense of timing and a great mind-body coordination. Like cricket players, they can see the ball coming, they can make a shot at the exact right time, and they have good motor skills. So sportsmen or people who are into building, they would be in this category. Some people have an intrapersonal intelligence who are self-smart. Some people have a spatial intelligence who have a vivid imagination. They can view the objects in 3D. They have a mental picture. Architects belong to this category. Naturalistic intelligence brings down people to become gardeners or those who have a ability to grow with nature or make the nature grow. They are in sync with the natural world. And finally, there is existential intelligence, which is more like the question. I don't understand it, honestly. But when people are looking for answers to questions bigger than themselves, where did we come from? What happens when we die? Going into towards spiritual or moral intelligence domain is something that we call as the existential intelligence. Now, going back to all of them, it is easy to replicate some of them in machines. Like logical mathematical intelligence is the easiest to replicate. We can give in musical intelligence also with the help of some sound tools. Interpersonal intelligence is very difficult to create with machines. Linguistic intelligence is very easy to create with machines, as you saw the example with Chat GPT. Bodily kinetic intelligence is very difficult to give it to the machine because mind-body coordination or the robotic arm movement with the instruction that we have given is very hard to achieve. Grabbing the objects into this kind of intelligence again. Intrapersonal machines do not have that kind of intelligence, not yet. I can't say for future what would happen, but for the time being, it's not there. Spatial intelligence is good, possible with machines. We can give it a lot of drawings or images. They can draw in 3D as well. So far, what you saw on our demonstration was a 3D image created by Bing. Naturalistic intelligence is not visible with machine, and existential intelligence, if we can give it to the machine, we might be able to create AGI or something which is more on the sense of how humans think actually. I see the chat window. Any questions so far? If there are any questions so far, you can please ask or I'll proceed further. I don't see anything here. Thank you. Okay. So that was the multiple intelligence theory. What people actually worry about is what the artificial intelligence researchers also think about it, that we can probably touch only hardly 3 out of the 9 which are feasible to generate. So human intelligence, hands down, is so far much ahead of the artificial intelligence. There is no like danger of we being surpassed by AI pretty soon, any day. That's not happening. So, how do we define artificial intelligence per se officially? Is there are two different definitions that come to my mind. One is artificial intelligence as a technology, and the other is AI as a discipline. So, AI as a technology is defined as, we may say a machine has artificial intelligence. I would not say a machine is artificial intelligence or a software is AI or this thing is AI. I would not do that. I'll come to that again. But if a machine can, or if a software can accomplish complex tasks, which usually require human intelligence, like seeing, understanding, and then it can do so autonomously by itself in an unsupervised environment or with limited supervision, while it can adapt also itself to any changing conditions. I would call that as a possible example of software having artificial intelligence capability. So AI as a technology is something that a software or a machine can acquire. It can be given that as a technology. On the same time, we teach AI, that we are hoping to teach our students artificial intelligence. So that is also a discipline of study. So when I say artificial intelligence as a discipline of study, we can say that it is the study and development of techniques, algorithms, and mathematical models which can make machines behave intelligently like humans. So the essence here is that AI as a discipline of study is giving rise to AI as a technology. That we study the techniques, we create algorithms, we create mathematical models, then we convert them into software products. So whatever software products we convert them into, they become AI technology. But till the time we are studying it, we are developing it, we are researching it, that becomes the artificial intelligence as a discipline. Finally, there is also a talk of that initially I refrained from saying something as AI. So there is a common myth that AI is some super intelligent being, not amongst the teaching community, but outside the teaching community. So you'll come across a lot of students who will believe this, that AI is some super intelligent being. But artificial intelligence methods are actually used by humans. So we can always safely tell every student that AI is something that we use. AI is something that we study. AI is something that we develop for. So machines don't do anything by themselves. You would ask a machine to do something for you, then they would be doing it for you. It may happen that a machine has been given standing orders that initially it was asked that you have to keep on patrolling this border, and if you see an intruder, shoot him. But that was also, the machine is not doing it by itself. It was initially given an order. Till the time you revoke that order, the machine is already ready for attack. So that is the kind of misconception some people have, that AI is some superhuman being or some super intelligent being which is capable of taking over all the humans some point of time. So that is certainly not true. So while we define AI, we also have to define what is not artificial intelligence. Okay, there is another simple example for it. We let us consider a self-driving car. A self-driving car like Tesla, it's an example of a system which is based on artificial intelligence, because the car sees the objects on the road. The car is also capable of navigating a map. The car has computer vision methods and advanced robotics to make sure it remains on the course. Now, computer vision allows us to break a particular image into parts, the object, like it can break a picture into different objects like other cars, roads, stop signs, and it can interpret them. Right. But can you trust it? Can you trust the self-driving car with, I have a small t-shirt here which says stop feeling cute, and there is a stop sign. So if I come wearing this t-shirt in the front of the car, which is self-driving, and it sees this sign with a computer vision image, it just sees a stop sign. It would not understand that this is on a human. The context is different. It's not actually a stop sign which would be seen on the pole. There, human intelligence versus artificial intelligence is absolutely different. And similarly, this would be even riskier to actually wear in the front of a self-driving car, because if it sees this as a road, God knows what happens next. So that is the kind of scenario that we are dealing with. We do not know whether we can trust these systems or we can't trust them. So essentially, from the last two slides, we can actually define AI when we are accomplishing complex tasks which require human intelligence. But at the same time, AI is narrow. As of today, AI is narrow. I put everything with a disclaimer because I do not know what would happen in 6 months. I do not know what happens in 1 year from now. There is a lot of development happening every day with this domain. So I say, for today, we say AI is narrow. You can't compare a self-driving car, which does only task of looking at objects and driving on the road, to a different machine which can separate apples from oranges. Its only task is to understand apples and oranges. It has been trained to do that. Both machines have intelligence. Self-driving car is exhibiting intelligence which humans do, like there is a coordination of looking on the road, driving, all of that. The other machine which can separate apples from oranges has the intelligence of looking at an object, understanding the color, shape, texture, and classifying it as whether it is an apple or an orange, and then separating them. Both are intelligent, what humans would be able to do. But the intelligence here is narrow. They can do only one specific kind of task. I can't ask the machine which separates apple from oranges to become a self-driving car. That is not feasible. So when we say AI is narrow, we just simply say that the tasks which it has been trained to do, only that would be performed by the system which is exhibiting this specific artificial intelligence technology. So that is the fundamental difference between humans and artificial intelligence so far. People talk of a point of singularity where you would not be able to differentiate between the task which humans can do versus the task which AI can do. I believe it is very far away. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Let us see when it happens. We hope it happens in our lifetime. So one question which I have been asked over and over again by the students, by the teachers, by people where I have been conducting workshops is how to identify whether some piece of software or technology is based on artificial intelligence or not. And this I have covered extensively in the book as well, that there are two traits which you should be able to check for. One is autonomy. Autonomy says that is the machine or software able to perform tasks in a complex environment without a constant supervision? if it is possible, then we are looking at something which is close to AI. But there has to be another trait that is called adaptivity. That is the machine or the software capable to continuously improve its performance by learning from experience? That would also be required to have in a artificial intelligence machine. So we usually would check for both. If I have to check whether a program or machine may possess AI, we should check the presence of autonomy. That can it work without supervision or with a limited supervision by the human, or can it have adaptivity where it is able to continuously improve performance based on the interaction with the environment it is working in. Like self-driving cars should be adaptable. If once they have barged into a pole, the next time they should understand there's a pole, I should not be going this way, I should take a different, or I should apply brake at least. So that is the kind of requirement that we have for AI. And we created a small set of exercises, and I would require participation here. I'm just putting in on the screen uh, some simple, there are 4 tools which I'll ask for. So Siri is the AI based software, so called, that Apple claims this is AI based. How many of you believe with the previous definition that autonomy and adaptivity, that is Siri AI, is Siri non AI, or is it partial AI? Just pick any of these and put it in your chat window. I'm saying it is AI, non AI, or partially. That means if it exhibits only one out of the two, it would be partial AI. Let us look at what are the responses from all of you. Siri can operate autonomously with voice commands. That is one. And it adapts to user preferences and behavior. That is two. So I get one response as partial AI. Umesh says partially. Okay. So what about Photoshop? Umesh, Kaushalya? Photoshop performs a fixed set of functions and requires user input, does not adapt. Is it AI or non-AI or partial? Sumita says it's non-AI. Kaushalya is also agree, so non-AI. Yeah, that's kind of easy. I would believe everybody would be able to actually, because do not think of this as Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop has extensively brought AI into their tools, but normally Photoshop would have been. Now, yes, Umesh had that thought that it is partially AI, but from what is the definition that we have given here, there is no AI here. So we are saying there is no autonomy, we are saying there is no adaptivity. So from this definition, I would consider it as a perfectly non-AI. What about Spotify? Spotify definition says, you can see on the screen, it does not operate autonomously. Users must choose which songs to play. True. But it makes recommendations based on the user's listening history and preferences. So it's AI, non-AI, or partial AI. Kausalya says partially. I would agree here by and large, because the first part is not met, there is no autonomy, but the second part is met, that there is a recommendation. Yes, partially. So this is a partial AI system. Google Translate works on both. That means Google Translate can autonomously listen to your chat, because if you just open your mic, whatever you type, whatever you speak, it can operate autonomously with text input, and it can adapt to user preferences and behavior. That the moment you change the language of what you are speaking, it would still understand you. That is the autonomy and adaptability. So this is an example of a good artificial intelligence system that we are working with. So I hope by now you'll be able to, given a system characteristic, you'll be able to define that whether it is a AI based system or a non AI based system or a partially AI based system as well. So how machine becomes intelligent, I would take it with an example. from how humans learn. How we learn is, I spoke about fluid and crystallized intelligence initially. So, crystallized intelligence is what we are taught, what our education, what our experiences are. Fluid intelligence relates to what we are born with genetically. So, we learn by interacting with the environment, with the surroundings. We absorb every time some event happens, we learn more from it. We continuously improve upon any mistake that we made. Like if I would touch a hot pan some point of time, the next time I would never touch it because that was a mistake I did. My brain registered that if a touching a hot surface can burn my skin, I would not do that. So during the learning process, whatever mistakes we make, we continuously improve upon them. We become better drivers with time, we become better cooks with time, we become better writers with time. We basically better till the time we keep on aging, we keep on learning from the environment, we keep on getting more and more learning training data that we have. Correspondingly, if we have to make a machine intelligent, we would need it to interact with the environment. So for the machine, the environment may be the physical surrounding, but it needs to have the sense of everything. It needs to collect data. So we require to add sensors with the machine, where the machine would be able to listen through microphone. It would be able to see through a camera. So camera is a sensor. Your voice input is a sensor. Then there are machines which can actually operate on checking spelling gases. So their sensors are gas sensors. There would be sensors like touch sensors. So there would be different kind of sensors that we may add with the machine. There may be humidity sensor, there may be temperature sensor, there may be pressure sensor. There are a lot of kind of sensor. And then how do you interact with the environment? You require controllers for automating certain tasks, like you want your robotic hand to move on the basis of some input, or to look, it looks at some object to pick it. That would again require a sensor to look at it and a controller to make it move. And then finally, there would be software program that can coordinate these things, that what would the sensor do, what would the controller do, what would the actuator do. All of this becomes a part of the machine doing something based on certain feedback from the environment. And of course, in the process, the software is supposed to learn, because if it made a mistake last time, it should not be making the mistake again. So these three parts would be essential for a system to be usually artificial intelligence. And for an example, we have taken the machine. If we have to design an intelligent washing machine, which is capable of understanding what kind of cloth we are putting, automatically selecting how much detergent to put, automatically selecting how much water to use to make sure the water is not wasted, how much fabric softener should we add, and how much time should we take the complete load to rinse, spin, and dry, all four. So we would need to add sensors and controllers to detect the amount of water, detergent, fabric softener based on that. I put in the load in the machine, what kind of cloths are they, what is the weight of the cloths, which may also be detected by a sensor. And based on that, all the other sensors detect the amount of water, detergent, fabric softener. This is enough, this is less than enough, this is more than enough. So they have to keep on controlling. And we may also want to integrate the washing machine with other smart devices like a user's phone or a smartwatch or a home automation system. So you just dump the cloth in the machine, you go out of the home, and after you have gone, it can work in peace, going through the wash and rinse and repeat cycle, and then it can dry the cloth, just put them out for you to be able to use later. Or you can give it a command from outside that I am coming back to home, start with the washing cycle. That can be a kind of intelligent washing machine. So there was a requirement of sensors and controllers. There was a requirement of the software, which is actually controlling this process. But every time we wash cloth, that if it makes a mistake, if it actually added too much fabric softener, then it has to learn. If it added too much detergent, or if the water was too less, if the wash did not come out to what it was expecting, the machine should learn and adapt. That is how the machines become intelligent. They keep on getting more and more data. They keep on processing the data every time they are having it. And after every process, not only they try to make the process better, they also learn from what their past experience was. That is the way usually the machines would become intelligent. It is also the same way you would see on ChatGPT. It asks for your feedback. So for this, it asked me whether the feedback was good. So when I tell that you corrected the response and I can submit the feedback, it understands that it did something good. It is learning from this experience with me. There is an interaction happening, and through this interaction also this is learning every time we are. And not only that, every time I write a prompt, every time it generates something, it is learning from the user's queries also. So it is learning from the language, it is learning from what I am asking, it is learning from the question. Everything that you are giving to it, it is learning from it. It is adding it to its own database at the same time. So this is the way the machines become intelligent and they keep on learning. All right. I've just kept some 10 minutes for any queries that you may have. There are some viewers on YouTube also. So I would keep the chat window open in the meanwhile. You have my email ID on the screen. It's sachin.gupta@methodai.com. If there are any queries on how to teach or what examples to bring in your classroom or anything for that matter which relates to it, you can please do ask here. So if there are any queries, I am keeping the meeting chat open for a very short amount of time. We can have all the queries answered for the remaining next 5 minutes. Ashish sir, if there are any queries on YouTube, can you please redirect?
I am checking that, sir. Nothing yet.
You can send your questions on the YouTube also. I am trying to, all the people on YouTube. Thank you, Umesh says no queries. Thank you so much, Umesh, for joining us today. I hope you'll look forward to reading the book. And for the next session, obviously, we are going to cover one chapter in every session. And in case if you have any query, something that you would want us to add on to the sessions, we would be very glad to do that.
Right, sure.
Thanks, ma'am. Ashish sir, I believe that
Yes, sir.
we can close.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for attending the session today. And we will look forward to having the next session with all of you and more people. Okay. Which software we will use to create? Okay. So this is coming from my friend that actually is a query on YouTube, which depends on which type of app do you want to create. For chatbots, there are different kind of software. For images, there are different kind of software. For music, there is a different kind of software. For generating poems, there would be a different kind of software. And in fact, there are several softwares which are multimodal these days, which can take a text prompt, can create an image, can create a video, can create a movie from that. So you would have to be more specific about which specific application you want to create. I'll be able to answer it that way. I think that brings us to the, okay, whosoever had this query, just send me a query with what specific app do you want to, okay. Kausalya says, Kausalya ma'am, you want to bring something to your classroom. I have, whatever I have used today is free. ChatGPT is free, obviously. All right. Then you can create your own account on leonardo.ai. This is a free software for generating images. It has a very wide library. I'll show you that what kind of images it is creating. I have account. I don't pay anything for the account here, and it helps us to create a lot of. So you can simply create with your Google account, and it should work. You have to sign in, of course. Then there was another software that we had. Okay, let Leonardo open first. So you can select our interest, click on next. You confirm that you are over 18. All right. And finally, you have to select at least. Okay. What are your interests? Done. Validating the username. And finally, it should allow me to go next. So I click enthusiast and start using Leonardo. And you are all set. Done. And see the library it is actually creating. So let us say I want to draw, let us type a prompt. Right? You can see the prompt, I hope. And I say generate. Ashish sir has sent another piece of software, the bing.com/create. This is based on the DAL E3 model of Microsoft, which is actually otherwise which is a paid model, but with bing.com/create, this is coming free of cost to all the users as well. So Photoshop is bringing a lot of artificial intelligence. Canva, if you are a user, it has a lot of capable tools in Canva as well. So this was just simply creating, if I wanted to create a cover for my book image, that is generating. And if you go to the library, you would find there are a lot of different uh, diagrams. And trust me honestly, but the complete presentation, whichever image I have used, they are all AI generated. None of them is human generated image for the entire scheme of things, except for my book covers, obviously, for which my gracious publisher is responsible. So that was about some pieces of software that you can use. Any more questions? If you need a specific piece of software for some specific activity, I'll be able to help you because we are using AI software for research. We are using AI software for mathematics. We are using it for chemistry. We are using it for pharmaceuticals. We are using it for a lot of other activities that people are interested in. All right. Thank you so much for having us on this session today. We look forward to you joining the session again next time when we have in the session. Ashish sir would announce the session through the usual channels. And you can also tell your friends to join in.
Thank you so much, sir, for the really an informative session. The next session would most likely be on the December 6th, and an announcement will go out soon on our usual channels. And as Sachin sir mentioned,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you everyone for